Okay, so I have this wonderful story that I want to share. I live in England and I work in a care home, and I haven't been to work in like 3 months because my mother passed away, and so I finally came back here, and I got back and everything is done with, and I'm going back to work. And before I started going back to work, I decided to pop in and say hello to some of the residents because they're just wonderful people. And I had this wonderful interaction with one of them, and we were talking about where I was, and he realized that I was Jewish. It was in the conversation. He says, "Oh, I love Jewish people." And I said, "I'm just so glad to hear that." Okay, thanks. And he says, "You want to know why?" And I said, "Why?" And he says that when he was a boy, not yet a man, but when he was a boy, his father had a dear friend named Rudy that would come around the house and visit. And Rudy, he said, was this older fellow, but he said that he always treated him like he was just anybody else. He just treated him like a regular person, even though he was just a kid. Rudy always treated him nicely. And I was like, well, that's nice to hear. That's really good. And he said, yeah, he was a really, really nice guy. Rudy Vrba, VRBA. And I was like, huh, that's interesting. And so I leave and I go home and I look up Rudy Vrba because I'm curious like that. Intellectual curiosity is important. And I look him up, and as it turns out, Rudy Vrba wasn't just any other normal person. He escaped Auschwitz. He as a teen, is like 18, 19 years old. He went on to be a biochemist. He wrote a paper, he co-wrote a paper with somebody who wound up it getting published and preventing 200,000 Hungarian Jews from being put on trains to Auschwitz. And I thought to myself, this one person had this impact on him, and he's telling me, and he's an old guy, and I love my job. What an incredible chain of events. I went back finally today and I talked to him and I was like, you were telling me about that guy, and I looked him up, and wow, how incredible. And he said, yeah, he said he was a doctor, but he would never let me call him Dr. Vrba. It was always Rudy. Nice stories.